The wind moaned through Blackwood Grove, a mournful, haunting sound. It whispered secrets through the ancient trees, tales better left untold. Blackwood was a place of shadows where sunlight dared not penetrate. The air hung heavy, thick with the musk of damp earth and decaying leaves. Twisted branches clawed at the sky, their gnarled fingers permanently contorted in silent screams. Beneath them, the forest floor lay shrouded in a perpetual twilight. The townsfolk spoke of Blackwood in hushed tones, their voices laced with fear. They warned of a darkness that resided within, a malevolence that seeped into the very soul. Blackwood was a place to be avoided, a scar upon the landscape that whispered of forgotten horrors. But sometimes curiosity proved stronger than fear. For generations, the legend of the Watcher had haunted the inhabitants of the small town nestled at the edge of Blackwood Grove. It was a tale whispered around campfires, a cautionary story to keep children from straying too far. The Watcher, they said, was a being of pure malice. It lurked within the forest's shadowy embrace, unseen, unheard, but always present. Its eyes, glowing with an unnatural light, saw everything that transpired within its domain. Some believed it to be the vengeful spirit of a woodsman murdered long ago within the grove's depths. Others claimed it was something far older, something that predated humanity's presence in the world. Whatever its true nature, one thing remained constant. The Watcher craved the fear and suffering of those unfortunate enough to stumble upon its domain. And it was said that once the Watcher set its sights on you, there was no escape. The setting sun bled across the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson and orange. It cast an eerie glow over the three friends, huddled at the edge of the woods. Sarah, the pragmatic one, shifted uneasily, her eyes darting nervously towards the looming darkness of Blackwood Grove. Jack, ever the daredevil, grinned, his teeth flashing white against the darkening sky. "Ready for this, guys?" he chuckled, his voice laced with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Emma, usually the voice of reason, surprised them both. "Let's do this," she whispered, her eyes gleaming with a strange mix of fear and determination. They had made a pact, a childish dare fueled by teenage bravado. They would venture into Blackwood, seeking proof of the legend that had haunted their childhoods. Little did they know, the forest was already listening. The moment they crossed the invisible boundary, the air grew noticeably colder. The playful banter died on their lips, replaced by an unnerving silence. The forest seemed to hold its breath, watching their every move with unseen eyes. Each step deeper into the woods seemed to take them further from the familiar world they knew. The trees pressed closer, their branches intertwining overhead, forming a suffocating canopy that blotted out the remaining light. The forest floor, carpeted in a thick layer of rotting leaves and fallen branches, muffled their footsteps, creating a disorienting sense of isolation. The deeper they ventured, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. They had entered a realm where the natural world seemed to warp and twist, a place where logic and reason had no dominion. A low, guttural growl echoed through the trees, sending shivers down their spines. They stopped dead in their tracks, their hearts pounding in their chests. "What was that?" Sarah whispered, her voice barely a tremor in the stillness. "Probably just an animal," Jack replied, though his voice lacked its usual confidence. The forest was alive with sounds, each one magnified in the oppressive silence. The wind seemed to carry whispers, unintelligible murmurs that seemed to coil around them, tightening their grip on their sanity. Emma swore she saw movement in the shadows, fleeting glimpses of something unnatural lurking just beyond the periphery of their vision. But whenever she turned to face her fears head-on, there was nothing there. Then they saw it, or rather they felt it, a presence. Cold, menacing, it settled upon them like a shroud. The air grew heavy as if a great weight had descended upon their shoulders. They whirled around, their eyes frantically searching the darkness for the source of their unease. And then they saw the eyes. Two glowing orbs, burning with an unnatural light, materialized from the darkness. They hung suspended in the air, disembodied, malevolent, watching their every move. The eyes seemed to pierce through them, stripping away their courage, exposing their deepest fears. Terror, primal and instinctive, seized them. They were being watched, hunted. Section 7, flight through the shadows. Run! Jack screamed, his voice cracking with panic. And run they did, their fear lending them a speed they never knew they possessed. They crashed through the undergrowth, branches whipping at their faces, the sound of their own ragged breathing echoing in their ears. The forest seemed to conspire against them, the trees closing ranks behind them, the undergrowth snagging at their feet, trying to slow their escape. But still they ran, driven by a terror that bordered on madness. The glowing eyes remained fixed on them, following their every move, relentless, unwavering. The forest floor seemed to buck and sway beneath their feet, as if the very earth itself was trying to shake them off. Section 8, a glimmer of hope extinguished. They burst out of the tree line, gasping for breath, their lungs burning, their legs screaming for respite. The road. They had made it back to the road. A wave of relief washed over them, brief but potent. They had escaped the clutches of Blackwood, escaped the gaze of the Watcher. But their relief was short-lived. As they turned to look back at the forest, their blood ran cold. There, at the edge of the trees, stood a figure. Tall, skeletal, shrouded in shadow, it stood motionless, its glowing eyes burning into their souls. The Watcher. It hadn't been a hunt. It had been a game, and they were the prey. Section 9, the forest consumes all. With renewed terror lending speed to their flight, they stumbled down the road, their eyes darting back over their shoulders, half expecting to see the figure emerge from the trees and give chase. But it remained at the edge of the woods, a silent, menacing sentinel. A figure emerged from the darkness ahead, headlights cutting through the night. Salvation. They flagged down the approaching car, their cries for help lost in the wind. The car screeched to a halt beside them, its headlights illuminating their terrified faces. But as they turned to thank their savior, their blood turned to ice. The driver's seat was empty. The car was empty. And behind the wheel, two glowing orbs stared back at them, cold and malevolent. And Section 10. The Watcher remains. The forest had claimed them. Their screams were swallowed by the night, their pleas for mercy unheard, unanswered. The Watcher had chosen its prey, and there was no escape. The next morning, the townsfolk found the car abandoned on the road, its engine idling, its doors flung open. The three friends were never seen again. Their disappearance became another dark chapter in the grim history of Blackwood Grove, a chilling reminder of the unseen evil that lurked within its depths. And the Watcher? It remained hidden within the forest's embrace, its hunger sated for now, waiting, watching for its next victims.